It's the best possible way to learn history. I actually teach a couple of courses at the community college in Washington history, and I tell my students, we are not sitting in a classroom to study, we are coming downtown to learn. We are at the C&O Canal, Chesapeake and Ohio Canal in Georgetown. Georgetown was a port city that was established before Washington, 100 years before Washington, as a tobacco shipping port city. 87 miles have been restored just for recreational purposes, although you can walk the whole 187 should you feel so inclined. We have the subway that brings people in from the suburbs, so it makes it a lot easier if people take the subway, come in, and walk to work. So you see people dressed beautifully wearing Nikes. And you wonder if that's how they really look in the office, but they don't. Of course, they have their other shoes, but they're prepared to do a little walking. Some of the homes in Georgetown date back to the 1700s. So to walk through this area, you can't help but learn history. Washington is unique in that we have no high-rise buildings. Number one. The city was planned by Pierre L'Enfant in 1790. That city plan is still followed. So it's easy to walk through the city, not get lost. You run into fabulous parks everywhere you go. And the building code states very specifically, no building may be built taller than the width of the street on which it is to be constructed. So it's a very open city. Plus, we probably have more trees here than any other city. This is called the City of Trees. The first trees to bloom are the cherry blossoms. And even though they only bloom for 4 to 6 days, the flowers come before the leaves. And so it's a fairyland of blossoms. And today, you cannot drive in the city. You have to walk because it is bumper to bumper everywhere. People come in from the suburbs, people come in from all over the country to see the cherry blossoms. And we never know exactly when they're going to bloom, so it's always a great surprise to us. They were a gift from the people of Japan in 1912. So that we're celebrating the 99th anniversary of the Cherry Blossom Festival here in Washington. We have cherry blossom trees now all throughout the city, and many different kinds. So we have some that'll bloom in a couple of weeks called the Kwanzan, that are big, fat, fluffy, hot pink blossoms. And we have the weeping cherries that tend to last a little bit longer too, and in some ways are even more beautiful. But to see the way the city changes with the light, whether it's in the morning, whether it's in the snow, whether it's in the heat of the summer, with all the flowers and the trees, it changes all during the day and every day of the year. So even though you're walking the same street, it looks different. You come here in the fall and the streets are covered with leaves and it's just gorgeous. And now with all the flowers and the trees and opening up, you know that spring is around the corner. This city has so many parks. In order to encourage people to come out. For L'Enfant, he said you need to put your work behind you for a little while, okay, and kind of refresh your mind by surrounding yourself with nature. We have so many young people moving into the city, and they don't want cars. God bless them. They, if they do need a car, they'll use Zipcar. We have new bike lanes painted all throughout the city. I'm a walker. Tell you a funny story. On my honeymoon, we went to Paris. My husband had never been there. I'd been there many times. I said, oh, honey, I got to show you everything in one day. We walked all day long. At the end of the day, he took his shoes off and threw them away. I did walk the shoes right off this man. I had to sit in an office for a little while, and I couldn't do it. So one day, I just made up the job. I said, well, I'll just start a tour company. Darn it. I'll be out there having fun. I'll be out there walking. I'll be out there meeting people. I'll be out there always learning something and telling people what I know. It's perfect.